Hey everyone, Shine Sprite Ditto welcoming you back for more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. We have first step in to the Forest Temple, where we already have some stronger enemies. We have Wolfos. We are used to these guys. We saw one of them as a kid, but now we have to get used to fighting two of them. So while we're fighting these guys, I just want to say, you've if you know anything about N64 Zelda dungeons, which would be a weird topic to specialize in, you've probably heard of the Forest Temple, and this is because the Forest Temple is arguably the best dungeon in the game, best dungeon in the series, or even, the best dungeon ever created by anyone. Okay, I wouldn't go that far, but certainly the Forest Temple is a fan favorite. It is not my favorite dungeon, not even from the N64 games, but not even in this game. But it is certainly a contender. It is a fantastic dungeon. We're going to start by climbing up here and getting this gold Skulltula token right at the start of the dungeon. And you can see that we have a chest over here. Because now that we are an adult, we are going to have a lot more complicated puzzles, complicated layouts, and the introduction of small keys. These dungeons are going to get longer, harder, and I could have used better word choices. But there will now be locked doors. We will now need a key to fight the dungeon boss, and a whole lot more. So I'll kind of get into that stuff as we get into it. But yeah, the Forest Temple is just amazing. It has this amazing, creepy, abandoned temple atmosphere to it, and the music is fantastic. You'll hear it at the end of this video if you can't hear it too well. But maybe I could turn up my volume a little bit more. But the music in this dungeon is fantastic, and the puzzles are super complicated. Well, I wouldn't say super complicated, but it's a really big step up for entering these adult dungeons. And we have 4 Post Sisters. And they've wandered off. And of course, the lights to these torches allowed us to enter the basement, and you should figure out that that is, of course, where the boss is. A huge portion of this dungeon is going to involve basically making our way forward to completely loop around every single room until we will go in this way, and we will completely wrap around over here. And by the time we reach that point, we will have all the 4 Post Sisters defeated and the necessary materials to go fight the boss. And if I could break a pot properly, it was so much easier when I was a child and I was at their height. But I'm just going to break these because I believe that... Well, no, I'm pretty stocked up. But I also wanted to take some time to explain that. But before we head to the left, which is where the locked door is, where we could use our small key, you'll quickly find that there are going to be several more locked doors. So let's go ahead and take some time to earn our keys before we start heading that way. If we look to the right here, if we completely miss, we have a second gold Skulltula. With these dungeons being longer, there are going to be a lot of gold Skulltulas as we progress through this game. Probably up to 7 in each dungeon. Because... And honestly, this is also probably going to be the point where I quit doing dungeons all in one sitting, because they are going to get a lot longer. And we have a new enemy, something I referred to in the last episode. Stalfos, lure it in close to you and watch its movement carefully. Attack it when it drops its guard. But like everything else in this game, Deku Nuts do a fantastic job. So while we're getting into combat here, Z-targeting and just basically waiting for an opening, either swinging our sword or using Deku Nuts. I prefer to use Deku Nuts because it allows me to jump attack better and do a bit more damage while having more accuracy. But now when we're actually in adult combat, the Master Sword is actually the same power, statistically, based on how much damage you do, as Deku Sticks when you're a kid. It's basically 2 times the power of the Master. The Master Sword is 2 times the power of the Master Sword. It's 2 times the power of the Kokiri Sword. And for beating these guys, we have yet another small key. Before we start heading in through that locked door that I showed you guys, we're actually going to want to get 3 small keys, so we still have 1 more to find before we start heading in that way. We caught a fairy. But yeah, this dungeon will probably be 2 parts. I know I like having them all contained into one. I thought my hookshot was still there. Well, that was a waste of a fairy. I will hopefully get another one throughout this dungeon. But yeah, I would like to do the dungeons all in one sitting, as I've talked about before, just to sort of have it contained and get a decent amount of story progress, and so that we don't pick up in the middle of, say, a puzzle. But honestly, some of these dungeons could take up to an hour, and I understand that that's a lot of content to sit through. And so we have 2 separate doors over here. This one has bars in it, and we have no way of dealing with that right now. So let's head over this way, and we will see that it's another Song of Time block. Because a good puzzle just involves wasting time. That's how I see it. And now we can go through here. And I really like this. I really like that with all the dungeons we faced so far, this one has, like, courtyards. And you can go outside and actually see the outside world outside of the dungeon. This really, of anything else, feels like a castle or like an ancient temple that has been abandoned. It really captures that feeling very well. So we have a well over here, but unfortunately the well has a bunch of water in it, so there's nothing that we can do, unless we could sink down into the bottom of water. But unfortunately we cannot. We're gonna see a bunch of Skulltulas here, and now I really hate this part, because we are able to target... That is not what I wanted to do. I was locked onto him, thank you. We're able to target both of these, however the third one that is up there, we are not able to reach with our hook shot. Yeah, he's just a bit out of our range, no matter how close we get. So we're just gonna have to try our best to climb up and avoid him. You don't want to get too close, because then he'll start heading your way and attack you, but you want to try to climb as fast as possible. Okay, we are up here. And... pretty standard puzzle. I wouldn't even call this a puzzle, you just gotta kill the one enemy that's in the room. If I could do that, thank you. And now a big chest appears. Excuse me! And much like the dungeons when we were a kid, we will of course obtain a dungeon map. And for some reason, the Forest Temple still looks like Dodongo's Cavern, but... you know. So if you're ever getting confused when you're walking through the areas here, and you have a room that has 2 doors, and you're not exactly sure which way you came through, I mean, this one's kind of obvious, and you don't have the compass, which normally would show you that. Whatever door has the Forest Temple logo above it is the one that you did not go through. So that's always the one you're going to follow up with. And now you can see that we're actually in a completely different courtyard than the one before. We have a Skulltula here. So maybe there's some connection between them. And yes, that door down there does still lead to the main room. So we have 2 separate courtyards on 2 different sides of the dungeons. Hopefully I'm not being overly complicated with my descriptions. And we have a little hookshot target here. Whenever you see that, that means you can hookshot over there safely. And a switch. And just like the previous courtyard, there's a well here. But now the switch has drained the water. That's awfully convenient. Let's jump down here and check that out. You'll also notice that these Dekubabas are a lot taller than when we were a kid. The evil influence here, and they do drop 3 Deku Nuts, which is crazy, but the evil influence here in the Forest Temple is starting to grow stronger, and throughout the entire forest, which means the enemies are getting stronger as well. So we really need to do something about that. Now, we see a chest here, and if you clip to the front of the chest, you will actually land in front of it, but all we get for that is a recovery heart. Needed, but not necessary. And of course, the real reason we came up here, a 3rd gold Skulltula already. Alright, nice roll. I think Lord Jabu Jabu had 4, which means that we already almost have the amount that we had when we were going through Lord Jabu Jabu. And I don't know exactly where our time is at and what our time was for Lord Jabu Jabu, but we are not even close to finishing this dungeon. But if we hop down this well, we can actually see the other well from the opposing courtyard that we originally came from. And in this chest that we couldn't get to before is our 3rd small key. Now we can start making way towards that locked door that we saw in the main room. You can start to see that these dungeons are getting, I wouldn't say a lot more complicated, but they are upping the difficulty with their complexity. You have to figure out the connection between all the rooms, make sure that you, and yeah, if you use your small key and this is your first time playing and you go through the locked door, it can be pretty aggravating because you'll make a little bit of progress only to see another locked door. But yeah, this is where that the door with the bars on it was before when we were in here before. But yeah, you're starting to see how the main room connects to every other room in the Forest Temple and how we're going to be using them to get back here. But now, we've been through all 3 of these, both courtyards and that room where we thought the Stalfos. So, there's no way forward but the locked door. But yeah, you could make a little bit of progress only to come across another locked door, and that can be pretty aggravating based on how much you do to get to the locked door, but luckily that's why I'm here, to help you all through going through this dungeon. Because it's a really fun dungeon, it has a really good layout, really good atmosphere, the music is really good. And actually, you know, while we're on the topic of the music for the Forest Temple, when I was a little kid, like 10 years old, and I was playing this, I thought it was actually creepy, because I knew Saria was somewhere in the Forest Temple, and they said that the sage couldn't hear the call to awaken. And there's like a little hum, like a in the background of the music here. And why that was so creepy to me was Navi interrupting me. That was terrifying. There are arrows painted on the floor. Wow, how convenient. So yeah, we're just gonna pull this block and follow the arrows alongside it. But the reason it was so creepy to me was because when I saw the Post Sisters and they took the light away and removed our way to the basement, I thought it was terrifying because I started to have the mental image that the music in the background is actually the sounds of Saria struggling to cry out, but because she's locked away and sealed, she's being like tortured or something. And that we couldn't get to her, and that's what the music was her struggling to cry out. And I thought it was kind of horrifying that she was just locked here being tortured or whatever, unable to cry out for help. But we can see we can push this no further, so we have to walk around here so we can continue pushing it this way to match the arrows that are on the floor. Thank you, Navi, for your assistance. And there's an arrow. There's a ladder over here, and you'll notice that we're not going to go up there right away. And the reason for that is that once we get up here, you'll see another red block. Now, when we pulled out the blue block, the blue block that was down there, we were able to pull it out all the way because there was a little indent in the wall. You can see that we're hitting the wall before the block is, and yet we still need it to be pushed completely out. That is what the ladder is for. So we're going to head back down here. And follow the arrows in reverse. Climb up the ladder, which will take us to that floor that we were just on. But when we walk around here, we can see the red block from the back. A lot of B words. And we can continue pushing it forward, allowing us to go back into the area the way we just were, and we can continue pushing it the way that we need to push it. Yeah, they are being really good with the puzzles in the Forest Temple. I think there's a lot of clever stuff here, and it really does do a good job of easing you into the kind of difficulty to expect now that we're getting into more adult matters. I think this game does a really good job with its difficulty scaling. from the difficulty slowly increasing as a child to now having these more complicated, longer dungeons as an adult, but still not being so difficult, unlike some of the ones that we'll see later. I mean, if you know anything about this game, you've definitely heard of the Water Temple. And I actually have a really easy way of going through that dungeon. Spoiler, there will be a Water Temple. But everybody knows about the Water Temple, everybody knows how hard it is, how frustrating it is, but I have a really easy way of making it through the Water Temple every single time. You won't struggle. Trust me. Now, I actually haven't bioed those enemies yet, but when we go through here... Whoa! This corridor is all twisted! Yeah, there's nothing that we can do about that, but even more terrifyingly, I think that this is a really cool effect when you're walking through here, is... Navi interrupting us once again. Watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling! Yeah, if you do not have a key, you can make it all the way here and have to just go back. And it's one of the posters. She's gone. Yeah, yeah. She's gone again. She's gone. So now this room is actually going to be the room where I used Furor's Wind for the first time. Just to kind of show you guys what it is, we've had it for a minute, but we're going to place Furor's Wind down. And once we do that, we have this little glow here. Whenever we use Furor's Wind again, we will actually return to that area where we used Furor's Wind to set. So we're going to want to come back here, but there's nothing that we can do for now, and trust me, we're definitely going to want to come back here. So, let's go through here, and now if you actually look at the dungeon map, I know we're in the middle of combat and I just paused, but you can actually see that we're directly above the room where we fought the Stalfos before, and you can actually see it down there when we fought the Stalfos for the small key when we first came in. You can fall down there, so be sure to be really careful. For some reason he won't fall down there, but you definitely will. And, yeah, you can see that if you're not jump attacking, it takes a lot more hits. But I just wanted to be careful to make sure I didn't fall down to the first floor, because you will have to climb back up. Which I guess wouldn't matter if you set Furor's Wind, but then you'd have to set it again, because once you have recovered it, you just have to set it again, because you've already used it up. And I don't want to do all that. Now, if you don't defeat these guys fast enough, they will actually bring back the other one. So you want to be sure to take them out as quick as possible. Which I'm not doing a good job at, but there we go. And with that being said, we have another big chest. You found the fairy bow at long last. Press C to take it out, just like every other single item in the game. But yes, we finally have the bow. This is like the Zelda game where it takes you like the longest, except maybe Skyward Sword, but it feels like we've gone so long without the bow. But yeah, we basically go into first person, and kind of like the slingshot when we were a kid, we can shoot arrows. We can only hold up to 30 for now, but just as the slingshot, we are going to be able to upgrade that, which we will be doing, and it will be a very fun time. Yeah, another example of the room that you came from doesn't have the Forest Temple logo, but the one that you need to go through does. This is actually a little bit better use of it, considering that you can just end up walking around and getting disjointed as you fight the Stalfos. Well, let's see through here. I think all of these will always, they will always have arrows, because we got the bow, chances are we're gonna need it. Now you can see the picture of the Post Sisters and a locked door. So we can't progress that way, but now we have the bow. They can no longer run away from us, because we're shooting them from a distance instead of getting up close to them. So, let's go ahead and shoot all three pictures, and now there's nowhere else to hide. I wonder... Yeah, no, you're saying... I was just curious, because maybe the problem was that you couldn't get close enough, But no, I should have known, and I feel silly for trying. I'm a silly little guy, but I needed to know. Alright, so Beth! What a beautiful name. One of the Poe sisters. Aim for her when she appears. Yes, when she's spinning, she will have her light. You can knock her with your shield to get her to stop. And then when she appears, you're just going to want to shoot her with arrows. I think if you're quick enough, you can actually shoot them twice. Which I was way too slow on there. And you can also actually use your sword. You do not have to shoot them with the bow. You can actually just use your sword here like that. So if you're able to pull off a jump attack, that'd be pretty cool. But, you know, sometimes you just want to get it over with. And there we go. And a chest appeared out of view. And it's another big one. So, we've got the dungeon item, the dungeon map, which leads only the compass. Alright, now there is actually a better room to use Farore's Wind on. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what it does. You cast Farore's Wind, return to the warp point. And now, here we go. We are back in this room originally, and we can see from the compass that there is a chest in here. We're no longer going to need to use Farore's Wind. I will explain why there's a better room to set it in, but I was just lazy and didn't want to walk through that room, so I figured I'd set it here, and then I could talk about some other stuff on our way back. On our way back? What do you mean? Well, you will see. And, just like Beth, shooting all three pictures causes Joel to come out. That is an interesting name. Not a very good one, but an interesting one. And why are my Deku nuts not? There we go. I had to get my nuts out. And yeah, the same pattern. But basically, there's a puzzle that I got stuck on for a while as a kid, and I felt really stupid for getting stuck on it. But it involves the bow, because we're eventually going to reach a dead end. And there will be no way to go, which means we're going to have to backtrack a lot. And the point we're going to want to put Farore's Wind is the area we're going to backtrack to. Because you can just warp there instead of having to walk all the way back there. It can save you some time, but it's not really necessary. But I just figured I'd show it off in some way, even if it wasn't a very useful way. But just to give you an idea of how it could be a little bit useful. And now we have a small chest. Could this, by chance, be the mystical key that we need? And yes, it is. So let's go through here once again. And use our small key on the locked door that we had seen when we fought Beth. So yeah, really any of these rooms would be a good point to use Farore's Wind. To be honest, I probably used it a little bit early. But just like the other room, watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling. Yeah, you've already told us about this, but is this actually the room where you can... Okay, alright, when a circle appears below you, you want to get out of there. Because a hand will come down from the ceiling and destroy you. And if we go this way, you'll see that we do not have the key to progress forward. And this corridor is completely straight, while the other one was twisted when we were in a room like this. So, we are going to head back, because this is our dead end. And yeah, honestly, this would probably be the time where you would want to use Farore's Wind. Because there's a dead end, and we are walking all the way back to pretty much the... not the first room, but pretty much the room where we were pushing the blocks earlier. I'm not going to go ahead because it's not that far. But just to give you a little heads up, there's a lot of backtracking in this dungeon. It's a very coordinated dungeon. I love how everything connects and how you have to really analyze your surroundings to make a way forward. And you can actually see... Nope, not this one. Yes, there it is. A brand new chest that we have never seen before. We're going to keep that in mind and come back here when it is more relevant to us. I probably should have shown that off when I was going through the first time, but now that we're back in this room, this is where I got stuck as a child. But considering where I got stuck in Lord Jabu Jabu, you would be correct in assuming that it's probably the dumbest thing in existence and it's super easy. And these guys are called bubbles. These are blue bubbles. They don't do anything particular in this game other than damage you. You can hurt them with pretty much everything. They hop around, which can be annoying, but I don't really want to waste Deku. Whatever, I'll waste Deku Nuts. Especially since they're going to give me more. Yeah, I got stuck here and I wandered around for a little bit. But what we need to do is use our newly found bow and shoot the eye here. Now, where will this corridor lead? I guess we'll have to just find out next time on The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I'll see you guys then.